Okay, the 8%. What does that even mean? So, if you are a fan of this page or you subscribe to my weekly e-zine where I teach you how to be bulletproof, you know that I've been talking about the 8% for the last couple of years. So, what is the 8%? At the beginning of any year, people set goals. And there was a company called Go Banking, and they surveyed 5,000 people, and they found that only 8% of people actually achieve the goals they set. So if they said, hey, I'm going to lose weight, they actually lose the weight. If they say, I'm going to make more money, they make more money, find their love, they do it. And so here's the thing. How do you go from the 92% to the 8%? It's the first week of September. We have 4 more months in the year. You could be in one of a few places. Number one, you're like crushing it and you are in the 8% in one or more areas. That's where I am. Or number two, you maybe had some highs, you've had some lows, and you're kind of like, I don't know. Or number three, you're way behind. It doesn't matter where you are. Here's my message to you. My name is Susan Sly, and I want you to know that you can be in the 8%. Today, I'm going to share with you 7 strategies I personally use to get in the 8%. Does that sound good? Hopefully it does. So with that, couple quick announcements. Number one, my event, Sales Nirvana, is coming up on September 29th in Phoenix. Now, this event is where I'm going to be teaching. I'm a certified NLP coach. I'm going to be teaching neuro-linguistic programming strategies, the same stuff Tony Robbins uses, the same stuff Russell Brunson uses when he's writing copy for ClickFunnels. That same stuff, I'm going to be teaching it to you all day. And I have a special guest coming in, Emmy award-winning actor Riel Andrews, who's going to teach you how to take the strategies I teach and crush it in front of the camera. Does that sound good? So you can get your ticket at salesnirvana.com. Now, warning, if you are a person who is looking to just finish the year complacent, that is not the event for you. I'm just kidding. So who's coming? There are realtors coming. There are chiropractors. My friend he's doing a startup is so cool. I'm meeting with him later today. He thinks his company is going to go to $1 billion valuation in the artificial intelligence space in the next 3 years. I think it's actually going to. It's crazy. I'm going to invest in it. So I'm having dinner with him tonight. I'll let you know. I'll keep you posted. So he's coming. I've got lots of tech friends coming. It's going to be an awesome day. So it's for you if you are a network marketer or a digital marketer or have any form of sales, salesnirvana.com. Check it out. So let's get started. So the first thing, I actually brought my notes with me because I didn't want to leave anything out. So if you are new to this page, usually on Mondays, unless it's a holiday, yesterday I was literally chilling with my kids. Chris and I also went for a massage. Emery spent the whole day in her pajamas. We played chess. It was such a chill day. I went to yoga with one of my kids. So if it's a holiday on Monday, I don't do the live on Monday. I do it on Tuesday. But the whole point of these lives is to help you become bulletproof in your life, bulletproof in business. And today we're going to talk about what it takes to go from being someone who is a 92%er, someone who doesn't achieve, versus someone who does achieve. Because I know some of you look at the people who are achieving and you get really upset, and that breaks my heart. Like, all seriousness, I mean, you look at the people who maybe lose the weight or get healthy or enter the bikini show or they make more money or they rank advanced in network marketing or whatever it is, and you're like, how come they do it and I don't? It's not that they are different than you. It's just that they're able to adhere to a few principles. And once you know the recipe, here's the thing. Imagine you looked at a cake and you're like, oh my gosh, Susan, that cake looks amazing. I would love to have that cake. And I gave you the recipe and you had the recipe but didn't bake the cake. Shame on you, right? Not shame on me. It's the same thing. I once was, having a wall kicking moment. And I said to someone, I was like, oh, people say they want something and then they don't do it. And my girlfriend said to me, she's like, Susan, listen, if someone says they're thirsty and you give them a glass of water and they don't drink, that's not on you. And so I love that saying, right? It's the same thing. So I'm going to give you the recipe today. I'm going to give you some very tangible, very specific things. And the only thing I ask in return, this, on these Mondays, or today is not Monday, but I just ask that if this is a benefit to you, that you leave a great comment. I read all your comments, you share it. That's all I ask. You can train with me for the next several years for free once a week. And if you go out and crush it in life, then that's all I want in return, that you go out and do some great things. Sound good? Just nod your head. Yes, I can't see you. Don't worry. All right, so let's get started. So the first thing that I wrote down is that it's so important to write down what you really want. And it has to be measurable. Now, some of you are like, Susan, oh my gosh, I hear this all the time. But just because something is common sense doesn't make it common action, right? So that, yeah, I know, truth bomb, right? And you're like, Lady Gaga dropped the mic. But no, seriously, it's true. So we hear this all the time, but yet, even though we know this, people come to me and they're like, I want to make more money this year. Okay, what does that really mean? I want to lose weight this year. What does it really mean? We have 4 months left. Anything is possible. I mean, just think about it. In 4 months, you could go from being not pregnant to pregnant. Someone could ask you to marry them. You could start a business that can make you millions of dollars. So many things can happen in 4 months. I mean, you know, I'm 45 years old. My birthday is coming up soon, and I've lived a lot of life. And I can tell you, there have been those moments in time, and I know you've had them too, where life changed for the better in just a moment. Something just happened to me before I started this live. I got an email, and I've just been added to bigspeak.com. It is the same speaker agency that represents everyone on Shark Tank, every single person. Damon Johns. It also represents Magic Johnson, you know, Kevin O'Leary, all these incredible people. My life just changed in a moment, and things like that can happen to you too. You guys ready? If you're ready, say I'm ready. Okay, I'm ready to give it to you. So let's go. So you're writing down your goals, what you want, and it has to be specific. So you can't just say, I want to lose weight this year. That doesn't mean anything. You know, many of you know I'm a Christian, but I grew up in a Christian, Buddhist, Jewish household. So like, seriously, if you're Jewish, if you're Buddhist, if you're, you know, whatever it is you are, it doesn't matter. It's that it, you know, it is written that whatever we ask for is what we're going to get. And some of you don't get anything because you're not asking specifically enough. And probably you can relate to that, right? So let's say you want to lose weight. You would say something like this: I am releasing 18 pounds by December 31st, 2018, right? It's so specific. Ideally, your goals should have a number attached. So one of the things I did this year, I said, you know, for the past few years, since 2015, I've been doubling my company revenue every single year. So one of my goals this year is, what do you think it is? It is to double 2017 revenue. So I know how much the company made. I have multiple companies, but this one particular company, I know how much the company made in 2017, and I know exactly how much I need to make in 2018 to double that goal. And so by the halfway point of the year, we had already made, at the end of June, the same amount of money the company made all of 2017. Is that good, right? So it's very, very specific. So write that down, please. Your goal has to be specific. Ideally, it has a number attached to it so that you can quantify it. Okay, does that make sense? And this is where 8%ers are so good at that. So any friends, I know, for example, like tech startup friends, they're like, yes, I'm taking my company to Series B in 5 months, and it's going to have a $10 million valuation. They're so good at talking about numbers. If you ever watch Shark Tank, the other day I was watching Shark Tank, and I can only watch it for small periods of time because I see people on there and they come and they're so not prepared. And one of the things the sharks always say is numbers, numbers, numbers. This is the same thing for you. You've got to be specific. The second thing 8%ers do, and this is what I do too, I chunk down my goals into micro goals. So this year, as an example, I wanted to do 40 new podcast shows. So I just recorded number 80 last week. It's Kayla Craft, so that's out on iTunes right now. And so I know exactly how many shows I need to average per week. And the reason I chose 40 over 52 is like, well, Christmas week, I'm not going to record a show. When the kids are on spring break, I'm not recording a show. When we do our digital detox, I'm not recording a show. So I thought, you know what, 40 was a really easy number for me to manage. And so I'm just chunking it down. Okay, did, you know, 1, 2, 3. Some weeks I recorded 3, some weeks I recorded none, but I'm on track to do those 40. And it's the same thing for you. If you want to make an extra 50,000 this year, 100,000 this year, then you got to chunk that down and be so specific. And my friend Dave Horsager, who wrote the book, The Trust Edge, one of the things he says, you know, he consults to Fortune 500 companies, he consults to governments. He said, Susan, people have no problem coming up with goals, but what they have a problem coming up with is the micro goals and how they're going to get there. The micro goals are what the 8%ers are so good at. And one study I read actually showed that people who set savings goals at the beginning of the year, there were 2 kinds of people. The people who are like, yeah, I'm going to save $10,000 this year. And the other people who said, you know what, I'm going to save $500 a month. Well, guess what? The people who set the micro goals, they actually ended up saving more money than the people who set the big goals. So there you have it. So let's say you're in sales and you're recruiting clients and customers, and you're like, yeah, Susan, I want to recruit 100 people by the end of the year. That's fantastic. Chunk it down into smaller goals and say, listen, okay, great. If I want to recruit 100 people by the end of the year, there's about 16 weeks left in the year. I've got to average that out, and I've got to reduce that down. So technically speaking, you're going to have to recruit about 3 to 4 people every single week. Chunk it down into a micro goal. And then how many conversations are you going to have to recruit those 3 to 4 people? That's how it works. The next thing, that was number 2, chunk it down into micro goals. Number 3 is proximity is power. So this is one of the things Tony Robbins talks about, and I have done speaking events where Tony's also speaking. Proximity is power. So it's one thing to get on a Facebook Live. It's another thing to listen to a podcast and read a book. But when you can be in the presence of someone who is achieving at the level you want to achieve at, that is a whole different energy. And I received a text from someone last week and they said, Susan, I want to be around you. And I know that in order to be in the events that you're at and the events you're speaking at, I have to achieve at a certain level to qualify to be there. And he's absolutely right. It's the same thing. When you have that opportunity to be around people who are achieving where you want to achieve at, it's not just about being in their energy. It's that little thing you pick up in the moment that can change your life. And so today, after I do this live, I have another video to finish, and then I'm running home. I am getting changed. I'm going into cross-country coach mode. If you don't know, my son is on the spectrum and I coach his cross-country team. So I'm running home and I'm going to put on those clothes. And then I am running from there back to my office, putting on a cocktail dress, changing, more makeup, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I'm headed out to a tech dinner with the person who's going to do the $1 billion company in 3 years. And I'm sure he's going to do it. He has amazing AI technology. And then from there, I'm going to a tech mixer with 25 amazing people, including several people who've taken tech companies to now be listed on the New York Stock Exchange. So do you think that just by being around all of these people, and I know many of you are like, oh my gosh, Susan, you're plugged into the tech community. Do you think by being around these people, I'm going to learn some things? Yes, I'm 100% going to learn things. So pick your industry. Where do you need to be? Who do you need to be around, and figure out a way to get there? That is so, so important. Number 4 is Sold Out Sunday, SOULED. So you are not going to be good to anyone. You're not going to be in the 8% if you're exhausted. And I want you to think about this. What happens to you when you're exhausted? Who do you become when you're exhausted? Who do you become? Do you become that person who eats the ice cream on the sofa and doesn't make the sales calls? Do you become that person who's irritable and grouchy with your family? Who do you become? And so in order for us to be in the 8%, we have to be energized. We have to have all of those fresh ideas. And so Sold Out Sunday, one of the things that has put me in the 8% this year is that 6 days on, 1 day off. I turn my phone off on Saturday night and it does not come on until Monday morning at all. I do not go on social media on Sunday. That is my day. I get up, Chris and I, usually we do a workout together, and then we go to church together, and then I'm making something awesome for dinner. We're sitting around, we're reading books, we're hanging out as a family. There's absolutely no tech on that day, and it's just that time to chill out. Well, I shouldn't say no tech. I do watch NFL football on Sundays often, but that's the whole point. You've got to recharge. So it doesn't matter if it's the Sabbath for you. It doesn't matter what it is for you. It's that time. So when are you going to unplug? Because I know some of you are sitting here in September, you're burned out and exhausted already, and you don't even know. Maybe your income is down this year. Maybe some things have not been going your way. Maybe, your spouse has been, unresponsive or whatever it is, and you don't even know how you're going to go on. Well, you're not going to go on if you can't unplug once a week. It's not going to happen. So when's it going to be for you? And some people have a very lack mentality. I have a very abundant mentality. That lack mentality, like, oh, if I unplug once a week, I'm going to miss out. No, you're not. You're going to miss out when you're so burned out and exhausted and your adrenals fail you that you end up in bed all the time. That's when it'll happen. I know it happened to me back in 2000, and I said never, ever, ever again. Number 5 is putting the blinders on. There's no time for gossip or drama. And I want you to look at the last 7 days of your life right now. Were you gossiping? Was someone gossiping to you? Did you get caught up in drama? How much time did you waste? How much time did you waste in a negative cesspool complaining about something? Okay, there's no time for that if you're going to be in the 8%. Do you think people who are making more money this year, they're getting healthier, they're in better relationships, they're doing cool things in their life, they're running marathons, do you think they have time for gossip or drama? No, they might do it, but if they do, I promise the income's going to go down, the relationships are going to go down. There's no time for that. And it doesn't matter what you've already done this year. You can take an Etch-a-Sketch. I want you to remember Etch-a-Sketch. Remember that growing up? And you can shake it and you can clear the decks. And that's what I encourage you to do. Just because maybe you've been gossipy this year, ask God for forgiveness. Be like, hey, forgive me for that. I'm sorry. If you need to atone for anything with someone, do it. Get over it and just be that person with your blinders on. You know, yeah, as many of you know, I have multiple businesses. One is a network marketing business, and everyone, I built a team. It's almost 300,000 people. Everyone in that team knows they do not come to me with gossip or drama or nonsense, because why? Susan is not the Salvation Army. She is not going to deal with gossip, drama, or nonsense. She doesn't have time. And the reality is no one has time. If you want to be in the 8%, you don't have time for that. It has to stop. Number 6 is starting each day with learning. So one of the things I did is to be an 8%er, I love going to the gym. I love it, love it, love it. But it's 15 minutes at the gym, work out at the gym, 15 minutes home. So in that extra half hour, what I did is I said, forget it. I got some 10-pound weights, some 15-pound weights, a physio ball, a medicine ball, and a yoga mat, and I put it all in my home office. And you know what I'm doing? I'm watching Neil Patel's videos. I'm watching Russell Brunson's videos. I'm watching all sorts of videos every single morning while I'm working out, because that's a time I can learn and I can multitask. Anyone who tells you multitasking doesn't exist has never changed diapers and done a 3-way call at the same time, which I have. Thank you. And so the reality is we can. And so I need you to figure it out. If you're going to be an 8%er this year, how are you going to make that time for learning and catch yourself up? There are so many awesome opportunities right now. I'm going to be in New Jersey this Saturday, and I was preparing my presentation for Empowered Women Unite, and I'm talking about how this is the best time to be a woman in business. Do you know the top YouTuber last year? She made $10.5 million, the top female YouTuber. Like, I'm sorry. This is an amazing time to be in business. But if you aren't learning the skills that you need to learn in order to take advantage of this amazing landscape, not shame on the landscape, shame on you. And now between Facebook Lives and podcasts and YouTube and everything else, you can learn a lot of what you need to for free. If I want to learn Mandarin, I don't need to go to a Mandarin school anymore. I can learn on YouTube. It's the same thing. So that's one of the things I suggest if you really want to get an 8%. And the last thing that I want to share with you with regard to being in the 8% is that, you know, it's not always easy or convenient. That's the thing I want you to understand. It's not easy or convenient, and you've got to guard your mind. And so here's the thing. There are a lot of seductions for us to go down the negative space. How many of you can relate to that? That, you know, that you can be seduced. There are people who want to pull you into their negativity, or maybe you're watching a movie that's negative, or, you know, I know for myself that, you know, I can't watch anything negative or killing or conspiracy stuff or whatever, because it ends up costing me money. And so I don't have time for that, and it doesn't feed my family. And so guarding your mind if you want to be in the 8%. So how do you do that? So one of the things I do is I start each day with prayer and meditation. And, you know, I love what Joel Osteen says. Prayer is when we're talking to God. Meditation is when we're listening to God. So starting my day that way, journaling on anything that's unresolved. If I have something that's really bothering me, I'll get out a bunch of line paper. I'll just go to town, write it, and I'll throw it in a fireplace and I'll burn it. And then the other thing is, I use NLP techniques to shift my mindset. So, you know, whether that is using, you know, torching and limiting belief technique, or doing some different types of anchoring, or there are different techniques that, you know, I use as an NLP coach that I can use on myself to shift myself and shift my mindset, right? And so the thing I would say to you is figure out the techniques that are going to allow you to guard your mind these last 16 weeks of the year. Because again, I don't care where you're at right now. All I care about is what you do with this time. And if you are one of the privileged people who is already in the 8%, then make a decision and say, who am I going to help? Who am I going to uplift? How can I contribute the abundance I'm already receiving and benefit someone else? And that's the key, guys. That's it. So hopefully today has been great. Again, if you want to learn some NLP techniques, I am doing Sales Nirvana live here in Phoenix, September 29th. You can go to salesnirvana.com. I had people flying in from Anchorage, Alaska. Someone from Illinois just registered this morning. It's going to be an amazing, powerful day. You will leave with techniques that are going to help you close more sales, that are going to help you grow your business, and you will absolutely love it. So it's salesnirvana.com. If today has been amazing, I want to read your comments, share this video. You're incredible. If you want more training like this, my podcast show is just the SusanSlyProject.com. It's also available on iTunes. And with that, God bless. Rock your week, and I will see you next time.